I bought Janet Jackson's prize truck at a Beverly Hills auction a couple of years ago. A few years before that, I was homeless. So I want to tell you a little bit about that because I have been seeing your comments and my other videos, and I have heard something happen over and over again. And I want to talk to you about how you can change your mindset and change the way you think about things so that you can have this abundance. Um, let me get straight to the point. It hasn't always been easy. Like, of course, the homelessness was not easy, and that was for years and years and years. But even past that, even with capital, I've raised more than $30 million. I've invested in more than 200 companies. I have two books out. I've been on the cover of Black Enterprise and Fast Company, so on and so forth. But every day is there's still something that you have to deal with. So it doesn't just like automatically get better. But it's so much better than it used to be. So the lowest low for me today is higher than the highest high used to be. Does that make sense? So if you're feeling it, if you're like, oh, I feel stuck, whether that's because of poverty, whether that's because you have money, but there's so many other things that can be affecting your life. I want you to know that I want you to see that vision in your head of I need for the future for my highest highs today to be my lowest lows tomorrow. That's a mindset shift that helped me so much. I talk about that in my book, Your First Million. It came out January 2024. Pick it up. It's also available on audio. I talk about that in the first few chapters. It's about this mindset shift. Like, how do you go from sleeping on the floor of an airport to raising more than $30 million and affecting hundreds, thousands of people's lives directly? How do you do that when things are so against you and it feels insurmountable and it feels almost delusional to think about working on a venture fund while you're asking people for money to get food? There's a mindset shift that happens, and I talk about it in the book. And I highly recommend the audio version because I'm talking directly to you in that. And you can also multitask and can rewind and you can, use it to amp yourself up. I also have been on YouTube in the last 2 months, just really getting an amazing amount of people who have discovered my channel. Thousands and thousands of you discover my channel every single day. And thank you so much for being here and coming back, or welcome if you're new. And that has led to so many comments. And I'm able to see really deep into the psyche and the circumstances of people. What I've noticed, and I'm going to talk directly to you right now, what I've noticed is that the people who identify themselves as a victim of their circumstance are the people who continue to reply to my comments or on my comments, and they're in the same place they were several weeks ago. But the people who say, you know what, something has clicked for me and I'm going to take action. And yes, I'm in these terrible circumstances. Some of them I can't even fathom, even though I've been in terrible circumstances. And I appreciate that and legitimize it. And I'm not taking from it. But the people who say, I'm in these circumstances and I'm going to do XYZ are the people who come back a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. And they're like, I did this. I opened this. I started this. And that's what you have to do. You have to do that. I've talked a lot the last few days about tactics, about like how to raise money, how not raise, but how to make money, how to earn money. There are a ton of videos on my channel about that. And I welcome and invite you to look at those videos. But if you watch those videos and you feel jealousy, or you feel like I can never be that, or you feel like, the world is against me, you're not going to break out of your circumstances. Whatever you say to yourself will be correct. Let me say that again. Whatever you say to yourself, whatever you tell yourself is your situation, will be correct. So if you say, I'm not good at this, I don't know how to do this, I'll never be able to get that, I'll never be able to have that, then you won't. But if you say, yes, I'm in these circumstances, they suck, I recognize that. And it's not fair because it's not. But I am willing to step out of that. I am willing to put in the hours that it takes to research things, to learn things, to build my skills, to act on those things, to listen to people who have been further down the road. I'm willing to invest in myself in other ways. And sometimes that is monetarily. I'm willing to do those. I'm willing to put myself into rooms, even whether that is virtually or in person. I'm willing to do that. Then you break out. And if I'm hitting some nerve with you, if you're still here and you're saying, oof, it feels like she's talking directly to me. I want you to put that in the comments right now because someone else is going to see that and they're going to feel brave enough to move forward too. That's another thing that I've learned in the past decade of, these 10 years of working on my venture fund and working on and the work that I do is that every single day I am reminded of something I did previously that has affected someone in a way that I would not have imagined. And when I say previously, I can mean last week when you discovered me on YouTube and I said some sentence that meant something to you. Or I can mean 9 years ago when we bumped into each other at an airport and I listened to you pitch to me, or I said a couple of things that meant something to you, or you saw me speak, or you read my book, or this or that. And you just never know how that thing, the butterfly effect, right? The change of one tiny thing like a butterfly's wings could change someone's life. So I've learned that, and you can have that same effect. There is zero reason that you can't have that same effect on multiple people. It doesn't have to be the same number of people as me. It doesn't have to be the same number of people as anyone else, the same type of people, the same effect. This is a race that you're racing against yourself. And I believe in you so much. It hurts. Like I believe in you so much that it's agony to know that not everybody can hear me. It's agony to know that you still feel a certain way about yourself. I am on a mission. I'm on several missions. One main mission I have been on, you may have heard about it, that is that I want to help 1,000 people make their first $1 million. Is again why I have the book, Your First Million, kind of introduce that concept here. It seems straightforward and it seems like it can be something that is like, superficial, uh, egotistical even. It's not. It's deeply rooted in this idea that I don't want anybody to feel like I felt or to experience what I felt anymore when I had nothing and no power and no options. This is a really important part that I want you to hear from me. It's not about the $1 million. It's not about any one specific number or amount in your bank account. It's about your ability to generate revenue and make money whenever you want to, whenever you need to. It's about you having that muscle that you are always flexing and always building up so that you can use it whenever you need to. Because money is a tool that you will need to use, but having that freedom to take care of yourself, to not need somebody else, to get out of a bad situation that you might be in right now, to me, that represents so much more than the capital itself. You don't need 3 cars. You don't need a huge house. Most people, by the way, who I know who have large houses in the millions of dollars, hate their houses. They hate the upkeep. They hate the fact that they don't know where other family members are at any given time. It's not intimate. They hate, a little bit feels a little dangerous to them in some cases. They don't love it. It's just kind of like a showpiece. So it's not about like, I have to make this money so I can spend this money. It's how do I build a muscle where I don't have to beg other people? I don't have to rely on everyone else. Although I'm not afraid to ask for help, I don't have to rely on them and turn myself into a burden to them. That to me is worth everything. So if, for instance, if you came up to me in a couple of years and you said, I saw this video that you did back in 2024 and it really struck a chord with me. And I've been able to make $60,000, $60,000 a year since then that I wasn't able to make before. To me, that's like you just told me you won the lottery or that you made $1 million and you said that to my face. That's as impressive, if not more, to me. So I put that name up it's the billboard, a million, your first million. It's the billboard so that you can come into the substance of it all. Right. So I need you to understand that. Another concept I need you to understand is that you have to pour into yourself. You have to meet people halfway or go further. You have to be willing to do more for yourself than anybody else would do for you. And so here's what I do. Let me run this by you one more time. I have raised more than $30 million. I have invested in more than 200 companies. I have 2 books, 3 companies that I run. I have a 9-part series on ABC. I was Oprah's resident investor on Oprah Daily last year. Ton of stuff going on. Every single day of my life, I study for hours. Every single day of my waking life, I study for hours. Anytime I'm in transit, I have earphones in if I'm not talking to someone, earplugs in, and earphones, and I am listening to a book, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to a course. I'm learning. When I'm at home, I spend hours watching YouTube and learning. A combination of that, the different courses that I buy, the different memberships that I'm in. I have mentors that I pay. I have coaches that I pay. I have experiences that I pay for. I do that. Now that's a lot of that is money, but again, this whole video is about not making excuses, right? Most of that is not money. Because what am I doing? I'm becoming money. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, go look for my video called Become Money. I'm becoming money by learning. So YouTube, I watch for free all day long. You can go to the library, you can learn there. I used to go, when I was homeless, I would go to Barnes and Noble, go to any kind of store, Target, any kind of store that had magazines. And I would read those magazines from front to back about the thing that I wanted to learn about. I would read about things that I didn't know I wanted to learn about. So my mind would be expanded. The point of this is we can't stay dormant. We can't stay here. If we don't know what a word means, do you know how many times I ask people what words mean so I can know what it means now? How many times have you heard a word you didn't know what it meant and your ego stopped you from asking and maybe even stopped you from researching it because you were like, oh, I'm dumb. I don't know that word or they know too much or whatever. No, I am in rooms with people. Mark Cuban is one of my investors. He invested $6 million. We have a joint venture fund. If he says a word I don't know, which doesn't happen often, by the way, but if he says a word I don't know, I ask him, what does that mean? If I meet someone, I was just somewhere yesterday where we met a few people, they say a word, I'm like, what does that mean? I'm curious. Become curious, become insatiably curious. If you don't know what insatiable means, ask me in the comments or look it up. Because that curiosity, you being a detective, is going to make you so valuable, so fast, so fast. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to go to college. I didn't go to college. Could have, didn't. You don't have to do that to be smart, to be considered smart. People don't ask. I don't ask what people's college, what school they went to. Now, I appreciate people who go to college. I appreciate that time you put in, that effort you put in, especially if you're underrepresented, because I know what it takes to make that happen. But you can't use that as an excuse either. Now, if you did go to college, you're highly educated in that way. You're highly seasoned. Maybe you're over 50. You Today is the first day of the rest of your life. What are we going to do about it? Gary Vee said, he's a friend of mine. He said, you're going to die. Everybody, all ages, you're going to die one day. What are you going to do about it? Meaning, get to living. Start living today. Start living today. I needed to have this conversation with you today, and I thank you so much if you're still watching. If you're still watching, we're gonna do a code word, something I see. Okay, code word is million, million, million. That's the code word. So type that in the comments if you're seeing this. It tells me that you've watched the whole thing. It's like our code word. But I needed to have this conversation because I saw so many people who I believe have so much potential discounting themselves, counting themselves out before we even get started. So in order for you to watch my videos about how to make a $200 in 3 hours, or which I have, all these videos I'm about to say, how to make $1,000 extra, how to make 10,000. That's one of my biggest videos is how to make $10,000. I give you 10 ways. In order for you to do the tactical things, you have to first believe that you can. You have to first believe that it's yours, that it's part of your inheritance as a human being on this earth, which it is. So I needed to have that conversation with you because I can't keep seeing these comments that are denigrating and degrading to yourselves. We are all equal. We are all capable of being badass. We are all capable of that. When I walk into a room of people, all I see is potential. All I see is possibilities. All I see is the capacity to do exactly what I've done or better. So invest in yourself. Watch these videos. If you can do no other thing, watch these videos. Do something about it. And tell me what you're up to. All right. I'll see you soon.